this Sunday morning. As usual, good morning to everyone and all. Okay, so getting into this particular meeting today itself has been a roller coaster by itself. As you can see, are expecting a limited number of people here today. I think it won't take any keen observation to note that we are missing 3 of our stalwarts. But with that being said, this also gives us a platform to test our bench strength and also to develop some of our future leaders. So with that, I request one and all to participate today, and let's help go develop some future leaders, all right, for the I'll also like to go around the room and talk to some of the guests. So for today's meeting, I see that we have one guest, and that's Shubham. So Shubham, if I may ask a brief introduction about yourself, maybe just a 30-second, tell us what got you here.
Am I audible? Okay. Myself, Shubham Barnawal. I'm from Mumbai. And I want to improve my communication skills with Toastmaster as well as my, developing or improving my leadership skills. So I want to get insights that how Toastmaster is working and how it is developing our means how it helps to improve our communication skills. That's why I have joined right now.
Thank you so much, Shubham, for sharing, and I sure hope you enjoyed today's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Do we see any other guests around the room today? Okay, I don't, but if someone joins in, we'll definitely connect with them a little later. So without any further delay, I also now have the pleasure of introducing the Toastmaster of the day. She is a company secretary, a full-time mom to a handsome 9-year-old boy, a lawyer by profile, you know whom to contact, and she's done us proud with her evaluations on the big stage. Gentlemen, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Sarika.
Thank you, Mr. President. Am I audible and clear? Visible? Okay. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'm going to touch upon a very sweet topic. Childhood memories. These are a timeless treasures of the heart. Isn't childhood a wonderful time? When you look back at yours, and you are bound to have many different memories, some bitter, some salty, but all these childhood memories will always bring some smile on your face, no matter in what state of mind you are. Childhood memories are precious since it's a way, because it represents a phase of life. Things were simpler. We had so much of curiosity. We used to handle everything. We used to enjoy and relish every moment. And all it was truly an extended phase of a wow moment. I can do that better. I can't do it. These are all the phases of an adulthood. So today I just thought that Today I just thought that let us observe, or don't we deserve to cherish these childhood memories? So today, on this occasion, especially on Children's Day, let's go down the memory lane and visit our childhood. As I said, the participants are less today. I would really encourage everyone to participate. So I'm going to ask some random questions regarding your childhood, and I will also share my experience, and I would really want people to participate. So okay, so let me pick first Um, Walter. Walter, hello.
Yeah, yes. Am I audible?
Okay. So Walter, I have to ask you one question. Tell me, what was favorite childhood memory? I'm going to go with simple and then maybe add few twists in the questions. But if I have to ask you that, Walter, tell me one good memory, what it would be.
See, if you ask me one moment, it's very difficult to choose. But then childhood memories, if you are asking me, so the best childhood moments are when we are in vacations, basically in summer vacation or the first some Diwali vacations, getting up early in the morning, all the kids surrounding and planning for whatever, whether it's a playing cricket or something else, going into the field or some other activities, planning those activities and what to do next tomorrow, day after tomorrow. That was a great thing. Like whenever you are getting from bed, you are so joyful because you know it's holiday and we have planned something and that we are going to do along with your close friends. So that was, I think, really cherishing the moment on those days. Hello.
Thank you, Walter. Yes, am I audible? Sorry, there is some bad network at my place today, so I can hear a bit lag. Thank you, Walter. That was really nice. And I also remember my day when the first thing in the morning you get up and you just wait for your friends and you just want to rush downstairs and play. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you about one incident that I did. Now let's more on the sweet memories of childhood, where I remember me and my friend, I used to like playing a lot of pranks. And especially one of my school friend, I didn't even know him much, but I remember he used to come in my building. And the moment he entered in my society, me and my friend, we knew that he's coming. So we just, we hid besides the lift. And the moment he entered, we did like, boo. And the way he screamed, I remember it so, and we laughed to the core, it was so much fun. So now I'm going to pick up Joy. Joy, you have to tell one incident when you played prank on someone during your childhood.
Okay, apparently, this coincides with the riots in 1993, the Hindu-Muslim riots. So apparently, pretty much everyone was scared, but work was going on as usual. We had one of our school days, and because everything was tense around, right? So me and my friends during one of the short recesses decided that we'll just go around the classroom shouting as if somebody has placed a bomb in the school. And we did exactly that. So we were a gang of like 10 or 12 pranksters, and just when the recess was about, we all together we shouted bomb, bomb, bhago, 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 and everyone started running around. And luckily no one was injured. There was no stampede, but so my friends and we got suspended for a month. That was one of the biggest pranks I still remember. It was crazy, So while it's, looking back, it is something that we ideally shouldn't have done. But yeah, there was no damage. Everybody had a good laugh, and I think we paid the price, so all is well.
Thank you, Joy. You were a very naughty kid. And as I said, mistakes now, when now you look upon that, it's okay. And it still brings so much smile on your face. Oh, thank you, Joy, for sharing. Okay, now, Englewood. Toastmaster Englewood.
Yes.
Can you tell me one incident about your childhood? You actually got into a fight with your friend.
Oh,
And over maybe any silly thing, but now when you think upon it, you feel, oh God, I was it was so kiddish of me to get into this serious mode, which I could have easily, let go of or something like that. Yeah.
oh yes. So actually, this would answer both the naughty moments or the good memories as well as So what happened is in our school when there was one particular day at when we came out of our school gate. So we few of our almost 4 to 5 of us, usually we had this habit of putting hand on each other's shoulder. So it was like a long chain, and we were coming out of the gate. I don't know. Suddenly, an idea came in my mind. Ki, why don't I put leg and topple one person next to me? So I don't know how this idea came in, and I just casually I just put my leg, and unfortunately all 4 of us toppled, and it was near the road, so it was a little risky thing because the bus and all, yeah. So nobody knew till date who was the culprit except the guy whose leg, so we had a little argument, and all these things. But then soon, within 2 3 days, it happened. Yeah. So yeah, it was my mistake. I should have told sorry immediately. Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah.
Thank you, Engelbert. Thank you so much. This reminds me of my incident too, when exactly we used to put hand over and we used to like dance on the road while walking, and especially from when you come out of the school and towards your home, you just walking, chit-chatting, dancing, and running around. Yes, it was such a lovely memories that we had. Okay. Toastmaster Glenn. Okay, so if you have to share one incident about your childhood to your grandkids, what will it be?
I think there were many incidents, to be honest. That's really tough one. So let's go with something naughty, and actually got caught with that and got messed up. So as teenagers, especially the guys, we started off with the cigarettes, and apparently the news reached my dad. I think he was pretty cool about it, actually. So here's what he did. He took me to a specialist, a doctor. Okay, a doctor who was basically to tell me about the hazards of smoking. And I was like barely 16, 17 at that point of time. So I think that was a good thing to do. And of course, the doctor made me blow into some machines and things like that. But besides that, that day I also learned that the tip of a cigarette burns at 900 degrees Celsius. So I think that was one really cool, moment over there, kind of father-son thing. But of course, that did not lead to quit smoking. It continued for another 15 years, after which I quit. But I think that was a really cool incident. And I'm sure as a father now, someday when I have to deal with such things, I hopefully will be able to handle it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Glenn. I never knew this, that it burns at 900 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Okay. So now coming back to our Toastmaster meeting, let me run you through how the Toastmaster meeting will be conducted. To help me conduct this meeting, I have my tag team along with it. So first, I would like to introduce the grammarian. 1 minute, there is some network, sorry. So grammarian, I would like to introduce the grammarian for today. Grammarian Vishal Mehta, Toastmaster Vishal Mehta. Before you start, maybe you can share one incident about your childhood memory that you feel which can be shared to this Toastmaster group. Yeah, one funny incident that you remember. Over to you, Toastmaster Vishal.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, Sarika. So, I mean, of course, everyone has like really great childhood memories. I do remember one incident. It happened during Diwali time. And, in our society, there are a lot of trees. So sometimes what happens is they chop down a lot of branches because it grows into like more trees just to kind of narrow down. And then when it falls down, they collect the branches in one places. And over time, it kind of dries up. It was Diwali, so we were just having fun, like, bursting crackers. So we thought, hey, why not like, burst a cracker in these dried, like, leaves and branches. And we did that, and it turned into like a fire. And then we all were like, going into our houses, getting buckets of water and pouring to kind of extinguish the fire. So there was like smoke in the entire society. All the people had come down, and it turned out that, we three of us, we really got a lot of scolding on that day. So yeah, that was one of a very scary. But I mean, now we think of it, we just laugh about it. But that time it was quite scary. It might have like escalated into like a bigger fire. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Vishal. And I can really relate this incident because bursting crackers was so much fun, and all the time my parents used to only there, be safe, be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can maybe
All right.
start. Yeah, you can
Absolutely.
start with your.
Sure. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests, my name is Vishal Mehta. And as the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as the outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As the grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is agog, which means highly excited by eagerness or curiosity. An example of using the word is, I've been agog all afternoon waiting for the next part of your story. Another example is, she was agog at the surprise announcement. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day in their speeches. I will present my grammarian report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Sarika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishal. Moving on to the next tag role, we have Toastmaster Hardik Rathod as the R counter. Hardik, before you maybe start your introduction about the role today, you can tell us one incident where you felt like in your childhood you felt like running away from your home. Was there any moment where you really felt that I want to run away from the home? Over to you, Toastmaster Hardik Rathod.
Run away from home. It was when my parents were upset with me. They took me for an interview for some class, and I was very quiet there. And then they were very angry and upset with me. They were not talking to me for 2 days, and then that was the incident where I wanted to run away from home.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Hardik. You can now share your script, your role today.
Yeah. So I'll do the I'll note words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and well, but, so, and I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means, and this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thanks. Over to you, Toastmaster Sarika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hardik. Moving on to the next role, the timer. Toastmaster Ajay. Maybe you can share one incident about your childhood memory going down the memory lane, your best childhood vacation, Toastmaster Ajay.
I always remember when we were kid and studying 7th to 8th standard, our family going to our native place at UP. So wherever we planned and we know we are going to native place, we prepared all the foods, all the we prepare the thing. We enjoy catching the window seat on the train. So, these are the really very funny things. We, all our, cousins and all our sisters, we parents, my sisters, siblings, we all are excited to go our native place. So these are the few memories I always remember whenever we go to our native place. Thank you.
Toastmaster Ajay, you can now share your role for today.
Yeah. A very good morning to Toastmaster and fellow Toastmaster and my dear guest. As a timer, I am the responsible for the speakers to express their thoughts within the allotted time limits. My duty is time, prepare speeches, table topic speeches, speech evaluations, educational sessions during this meeting. To help me in performing I have set of 3 colors cards. Let me show you. You all can see my screen? You all can see my screen? Yeah, okay. Yeah. The green card indicates qualifying. The yellow card indicates target time for your speech. And the red card indicates maximum time allotted to you. Yeah. So, for icebreaker speech, I will show the green card at 4 minutes, yellow card at 5 minutes, and the red card at 6 minutes. The prepared speeches, I will show green card at 5 minutes, yellow card at 6 minutes, and red card at 7 minutes. For the prepared speeches, we have a grace period of 30 seconds, either side of the time limit. I will present the timing report when called upon by the Toastmaster of the day.
Speech meeting, which is for today, we have one will be the speaker one, and to evaluate. So Toastmaster Vishal will speech directives and then. So over to you, Toastmaster Vishal.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Am I audible and visible
Yes.
to you all? So today we have Toastmaster Urmila. Her speech title is Follow Your Dream. It's her first speech. That's her icebreaker speech. The purpose of this icebreaker speech is to the club and learn the basics, remember an effective evaluation on her speech and delivery style. Because this is icebreaker speech of her first project, I will not give any numerical score, but I'll just give general comments. Over to you, Toastmaster Devi Sarika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishal. Now, calling upon the speaker of today, the first speaker of today, Toastmaster Urmila. Toastmaster Urmila, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As with the butterfly, adversity is built character in people. As I personally feel adversity has shaped me, taught me a lot of things about life, people, and given me an ambition to strive betterment always. I was born in Maharashtra. I belong to a middle class family with a typical Indian mentality. My granny was a wanted boy child, and we are 5 children in a family. I was second one. Childhood was normal. In 1998, our family got into big trouble. My father suffered huge losses in business. A few months later, he settled the losses and found a job as a watchman in one theater. He sent my mother and my 2 little brothers and sister to hometown for their further study. They took admission there and they have started study there. I and my elder sister was staying with my father at my Mumbai's house. I was in 7th standard that time. My father not in a condition to manage our regular finances, to manage our home finances. My sister and I all school going. We started taking house responsibilities since then. We were waking up early in the morning to prepare tiffin for our father, and then we were attending first period at 7:30 at school. We were going through a very tough time. My elder sister failed in SSC, and after that she had to stop studying. My father was single earner in family, and we were strictly forbidden from doing a job. Somehow I convinced him to allow my sister to work so she could manage some expenses and relieve my father. For me, studying for my board exam, work at home, and simultaneously attend school was very challenging. I managed to pass and get 63 marks in 10th standard. I could study out till 12th, as by then my father brought my mother, sister, and little brothers back to Mumbai, and my education was not priority. He, however, gave me an option to study BCom and also work simultaneously. He was trying to tell me as there are three more children to get education and he can't afford my college education as it is expensive and 3 long years. I was ambitious and I decided that moment I will find my part-time job and will continue my study. I used to attend college lectures in the morning and then going to job, and in the evening I was attending private classes. I hardly could find time to study and I failed in last year. I cleared my BCom in third attempt with relief that I finally became a graduate. I am first girl child who studied this much in my family, but this was not for aim for me. Post completing graduation, I quit my part-time job and found a full-time job. But destiny was examined me again. I got job at Borivali, Navi Mumbai, and I stayed at Jogeshwari. I was traveling almost 5 to 6 hours in a day. When my marriage got fixed, I started looking out the job near Jogeshwari. And by God's grace, within a short span of time, I got job in MNC at Goregaon. And that was the turning point in my life. I started and got very good return from my. I started investing, saving in mutual fund and recurring deposit. I got very good return by the time of my marriage. I got enough. I got sufficient investment or return from that investment to purchase my wedding jewelry and manage my wedding expense on my own. I still support my parents. I want to pray them for all the sacrifices they have made for me and my siblings. Now seeing a smile on their face give me a lot of content. There were better things to come on. I met my life partner. I'm married and I have 2.5 years old daughter. I'm happy in my life, but when I remember sacrifices in life, my eyes always got moist. I want to share too many experience and learnings with everyone. My dream is to become a motivational speaker and guide people is not lose hopes in any kind of situation. Thank you so much. William Shakespeare said that show must go on. Thank you so much. Over to your Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Urmila. This was so inspiring. Thank you so much. I will give 30 seconds since it's an icebreaker speech. I'll give 30 seconds for the participants to share any message to Urmila, Toastmaster Urmila on personal chat. Okay. So for Urmila, I would request the timer to share the timing report for speaker 1.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible, Toastmaster Jay.
Toastmaster Sarika, Urmila took 5 minutes, 26 seconds. And she is qualified.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ajay.
Thank you.
Move to the next speaker. So to evaluate the next speaker, we have Toastmaster Glenn. Again, it's an icebreaker speech. So the objectives, speech objectives remain the same. Toastmaster Glenn, over to you.
Thank you. Need change with the type of speech. The speech which Toastmaster Akash will be delivering today is an L1P2 speech. I know that's what the agenda says, but there's been a slight update to that, so apologies for that. It will be a 5 to 7 minute speech. Timer, please note. The purpose of this particular project is for the member to learn and review basic research methods and present a well-researched speech. The title of the speech is Democracy and India. So, Master Akash, I wish you all the best, and over to you when you're ready.
Thank you, Toastmaster Glenn. Toastmaster, now moving on to the next speaker, Toastmaster Akash, Democracy and India, Toastmaster Akash.
Yeah. So, democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, quoted by the former president of USA, Mr. Abraham Lincoln. So, good morning to all of you. My name is Akash Saurabh, born and brought up in Jharkhand, a new flower in this beautiful garden. I am very agog by joining this club. We have seen different types of government from the ancient era and now in the modern period. We have seen the monarchy system ruled by the king, anarchy, a state without law, totalitarian, led by a single power authority, oligarchy, governed by the faction of person or family, theocracy, ruled by the religious priest in the name of the god, dictatorship, headed by one who owns and operates everything, and other forms of the government. Democracy is one of the best form of the government because people have not fulfilled our aspiration, then we are going to remove them from the power. Look after a short history of the democratic government. The term democracy comes from a Greek word that is demokrates. Demos means common people and krats means force. Around 5008 to 5007 BC in Athens, a type of democratic government was formed, which was of India, Vaisali, the capital city, also considered one of the first republic state in India during the 6th. The modern era, the Americans defected the British and established the United States of America, the first modern constitutional liberal democracy on 4th July 1776. India got independence on 15th August 1947, and we became the sovereign democratic Republic of India on 26 January 1950 after the adoption of Constitution. Let's go through the pros and cons of the democratic government. Starting with the line of Mahatma Gandhi, he has said that I understand democracy as something that gives the weak the same chance as the strong. The other points which are supporting to the democracy is low inequality, assurance of human rights, religious freedom, freedom in cultural values, equal rights and opportunities, power decentralization, and avoiding possible wars, which is very concerning point, which happens many times in India and across the globe. Democracy gives people a feeling of participation and empowerment of people. Talking about the cons, I will state one of the famous quotes said by the former Prime Minister of UK, Winston Churchill. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with an average voter. The other cons are slowing down essential decisions, too many unnecessary discussions, political inefficiency, minorities may be left due to the military government. Elections are expensive. Donation may determine election out of the voter while going for the elections. Politicians uses power in their favor, don't have fear from any kind of sentences. Let's take an example where we are living, that is India, which is called as one of the largest democracy across globe of world. We got independence in 1947 and we are 75 years old as a nation. As a nation, we have achieved a lot of things. The first thing is that we are a nuclear state, fourth power, military power across globe, fifth largest economy in the world, becoming from importer to exporter in the food grains. Life expectancy increased from 32 years at independence to 69 years right now. We have reached Mars from the scratch in space sectors. IT sectors booms leading across globe, world-class education institution, and stability and harmony, despite so much diversity and many more things. We have to see other side too. We are far lagging with China in terms of technology, economy, military, and other things. Despite that, the China and India got independence at the same time period. We are ranked 123 in GDP per capita, 53 ranking in the Global Democracy Index, 142 out of 180 in Free Press Global Ranking, 101 out of 6 in Global Hunger Index, 63 in Global Ranking in case of business, 139 ranking in the Global Happiness Index, and lastly, 59 ranking in the quality of life. The government is an essential factor that impacts not in the country political decision, but our daily life too. Therefore, the government should be accountable. All the decisions and the actions must align with the people's welfare and progress. As citizens of India, we are enjoying our rights as citizens. If someone trying to seize our power, right, then we are going to protect it, we are going to fight it, and we are going to challenge it. And sometimes we go to the door of Supreme Court of India. But when we are talking our responsibilities and duties, we are not so serious. Let's have an example. How many of us have voted during the election, maybe parliamentary election or some local elections? The results are not good. The voting turnout to be 67% in parliamentary polls in 2019, while the people of Mumbai has just voted 52%. Before I mute my voice, I keep some logical points. The first one is that we know that democracy is not the best form of government, but it is a better one from any kind of government. The second point comes from the quote that the ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security for all, said by the former president of USA, John F. Kennedy. In simple words, if you are not voting or voting but not wisely, it is not calling a threat or concern, not for you, not for your family, but to the 130 crore citizens of India. In the last point, we have lost someone very close to us in this COVID pandemic. Many lives would be saved if we have adequate infrastructure, oxygen, medicine available. And the responsibility goes to the government. And I'm 100% agree with that. But from the past decades, we were asking for the mandis, not for these things. Who is responsible for it? In a democracy, the king has similar mentality or attitude as the majority people of the state have. Thanks a lot. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akash. This was really insightful. I would now call upon the timer to give the time guidelines, to give the timer report for Toastmaster, for the speaker, Toastmaster Akash.
Thank you, Sarika. The Toastmaster Akash took 7 minutes 20 seconds. He is disqualified for the icebreaker speech.
It wasn't an icebreaker speech, Toastmaster Ajay. Toastmaster Glenn mentioned that the agenda is a bit modified.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so he's qualified. Yeah.
Then he's qualified, yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Ajay.
Thank you.
Okay, coming back to the theme of today, childhood memories. Whenever we think about childhood, growing up, I played a lot of games, and I played a lot of games, and I always remember whenever you talk about childhood, you remember playing hide and seek, lagori, pittu, it is also called, chain sakali, and four corners, and all these games. So today I thought, let me get, while we are reliving our childhood and going back to the memory lane, I thought, let us play few games. And for that, I would request Toastmaster Walter to share the screen.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to play a game called the tongue twister game. So I'm sure many of us in the childhood, and our kids also keep on telling, okay, Mama, can you speak this tongue twister? So today, let us, because it's a virtual platform, otherwise I would have really planned and made everyone a child, but on the virtual platform, I thought this game can be played. So if Toastmaster Walter can share the screen.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Okay, so maybe the second slide. I think
One
it's
second.
on the
Sorry. Yeah, my internet is also weak today. Are you able to see into the?
Yeah, can you go to the third slide?
One second.
Sorry, I'm not able to share the screen. I don't know, for some reason.
So
And
are you
hence I
able to
have
see my first
Yes,
tongue twister?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And can you please put up the tongue twister?
Yeah.
Okay. So any volunteers to speak out this tongue twister? It's a very common tongue twister, and every person, I think, here must have spoken about this. I mean, must have recited this tongue twister.
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so the rule of the game, sorry. The rule of the game is you have to speak 5 times the same tongue twister.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe we can have 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay. Yes, over to you.
I can try. Okay. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the bitter butter better. Thank you.
Thank you. This was really nice and quick. Thank you. Okay, so who else? Okay, Urmila. Urmila wants to participate. Maybe Walter, you can go to the next slide, please. So this presentation is made by my son, and he wanted to make it more fancy. So hence, you have a picture of everything. Okay, so yes. So this is a Hindi tongue twister. Pake ped par paka papita, paka ped ya paka papita. Pake ped ko pakde pinku, pinku pakde paka papita. This is also there in a song. So Toastmaster Urmila, over to you. If you want, you had raised, right? Yeah, over to you, Toastmaster Urmila.
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू, पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता. पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू, पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता. पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता, पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता, पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता, पके पेड़ पर पका पपीता, पका पेड़िया पका पपीता, पके पेड़ को पकड़े पिंकू पिंकू पकड़े पका पपीता. Thank you.
Wow, that was nice. Very good, Toastmaster Urmila. So, okay, so any next volunteer? Anybody one who wants to volunteer? Okay, can we move to the third one maybe after seeing? Yeah. So maybe I'll have to pick one. Anybody who wants to volunteer? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Sarika, some of the people have raised their hand.
Yes. Okay. So Toastmaster Vishal, I can see the raised hand of Toastmaster Vishal. Yes, Toastmaster Vishal.
I hope this is Vishal Mehta because we have Vishal Shah also.
Okay, so it's Vishal Mehta.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
Toastmaster
Cool.
Vishal.
All right, so let me go. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Whew. That was quite a
Thank you. That was nice. That was a good try.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the fourth one. लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लालू की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. Again a Hindi one. Anybody who wants to volunteer? Toastmaster Ritik?
Toastmaster Ajay is raising his hand, so
okay,
we should give him a question.
Sorry, who's raising the hand?
Toastmaster Ajay, timer.
Okay, yes, Toastmaster Ajay. Over to you.
Yeah, it's 3 times, no? Or 2 times?
5 times.
5 times.
Yes.
लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लालू की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लाली की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लालू की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लालू की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. लाली बोली लालू से लल्लन लाया था लालू की शादी पे लाल लाल लिफाफे में लड्डू. 5 times.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ajay.
Thank you.
This was a good one. Okay, the last one. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Okay. Anybody else? The last one. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Toastmaster Lancelot. Over to you, Toastmaster Lancelot.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible now.
Okay, I'll start. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? What do you think?
Thank you. That was a good one, Toastmaster Lancelot. Okay, so moving on to the next part, the second part of the Toastmaster meeting topics. And to conduct this table topics, I have Toastmaster Ritik. Over to you, Toastmaster Ritik, for the next part of the session.
Thank you, Toastmaster, today. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Childhood is the most beautiful session of all the sessions of life. And table topic session is the same for Toastmasters meeting. We have seen fantastic prepared speeches, but in real life, you don't have the luxury to give prepared speeches. For instance, assume you went on a trip with your friends and they started talking about one random topics. You can't be blank there, otherwise they'll throw you out of the trip. This happened to me once. Or might happen you went on a family gathering and they asked you to say a few words about something. How would you feel in that situation? The ability to speak clearly, confidently, without any preparation is a very vital skill, and it simply comes with the practice. At Toastmasters, the table topic session allows us to participate in table topics, and that helps us to improve our impromptu speaking skills with a safe and friendly environment. It also gives an opportunity to all the speakers, all the Toastmasters or the guests who haven't spoken yet. So now I'll call timer to give you the timing guidelines. Over to you, Toastmaster Ajay.
Toastmaster, thank you. For table topic, each speaker is encouraged to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I will show the green card at the end of 1 minute, yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red card at 2 minutes. For the table topic speakers, we have a grace period of 30 seconds, only on the upper side of the time limit. I will present the timing report when called upon by a table topic master. Ritik.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arya.
Yeah.
Let's start with the members first. So whoever wants to participate, please raise your hands. Otherwise, I'll pick by myself. Let's see who wants to go first.
May I?
Yeah, you can also go. So the table topic is, if you shared a room with your siblings, how did you feel about doing so in childhood? If you shared a room with your siblings, how did you feel about doing so in your childhood? Over to you, guest Shubham.
Yeah. So if in my childhood, I can remember a situation where I was sharing my room with room with my friend, one of my friend, and at the time I was in hostel, and it was a little bit not good for me that I have to share my room and then share my uh, you can say that share my materials that I had. And later on, as I grew, as I made friendship with more close friendship with him, I found that yeah, it's good for me to live with him, and that and then after that I completely agree with their views, and I also shared my views with him, and it was very good for me to share my room after a few period of time. But initially I was not looking for, and I was not uh, feeling good for sharing it. Thank you.
Thank you, guest Shubham. It was amazing. Like who shared a room with some other siblings. So it was wonderful, guest Shubham. So now we have another person who can take up the table topic. So Toastmaster Akash, you in childhood and why? What was your favorite cartoon in childhood and why? Over to you, Toastmaster Akash.
Can you repeat once more?
Yeah. What was your favorite cartoon character in childhood and why? What was your favorite cartoon character in childhood and why? Over to you, Toastmaster Akash.
Yeah. So, good afternoon to all of you. The favorite cartoon during my childhood was Chacha Chori. So, he was a person who have great capabilities in terms of mind, and he can do anything. So, at the moment of childhood, we don't think much beyond our realistic things. I can say we live in the imaginary life, and we think that anything which we like, anything which we want, that can be achieved. At that time, I come from a very middle class family and a remote village in Jharkhand. So at that time, I used to read magazines and cartoons. And at that time, the article or the magazines which I have read through different parts, Chacha Chaudhary was one of them. He has clearly inspired me and had a kind of motivation that, yeah, there is some guy who can solve my problems. So, for example, if there is some problem, whether it is real or not real, he's going to solve by things. And one of the famous line was that computer se zyada tez dimag chalta Chacha Chaudhary ka. And the second one was that Sabu, who was one of the bodyguard or partner of Chacha Chaudhary, he was very high capability in body, and he can fix the things with his physical power. So, yeah, right now, of course, I know that things are not doing in that way. They are practical things. But when I go back to my childhood memories, I like Chacha Chaudhary. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akash. So, who is next? Please raise your hands. I'll pick by myself.
I think I will go for
Okay.
Walter.
Okay, Walter. So for you, the topic is, if animals could talk, which would be the most charming one? If animals could talk, which would be the most charming one? Over to you, Toastmaster Walter.
Thank you, Ritik, for this topic. If animals could talk, what would be the most charming ones? So, good thought. And my childhood was like so many animals, like cows, buffaloes, and hens, and dogs, and all. I spent time with that, being a background as a farmer. So I certainly felt like these animals start talking. Who will be the most charming one? That is a difficult question, but I feel like if your bulls and your cows who are part of your family as such, if they started talking with you, they will give us a feeling like what they feel, like their feeling towards us. Sometimes we give them lots of work, and sometimes we care them also. We care them during these there is a Pongal is a festival. We used to celebrate those. We used to color their horns, and we used to give them foods and all. I think they might be having some feeling, because when they find some bad thing happen in family, the animal, we bring them to the well to drink water, but they didn't drink water because they felt also part of that. And they are also like, we have observed that when my uncle passed away, when my grandmother passed away. So animals also become a part of our life. Even dogs, and they are very touching. They knows what is happening and our feelings. So I think if animals start talking, I think we may become more wiser, and we may get some insight actually, because they have different sense, and that will help us. That's why my viewpoint is. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Walter. It was amazing to see like how emotions connect animals and humans. So that's very wonderful. Who is next?
Thanks all.
Yeah. I'll pick Toastmaster Joy. Joy, are you ready to take up one table topic?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So for you, I have one table topic. Tell us about your childhood friend. Tell us about your childhood friend.
It's a very funny story. So this friend of mine, was like an inspiration to me. He was always so much more knowledgeable, not from the academic perspective, but he kind of had he had knowledge about pretty much everything else. So his GQ was high. He had great knowledge about current affairs, and I used to always consider him to be my best friend. So we used to hang out together, and as and when I realized that I need to go away from books and learn a few other things, I used to go and you know spend time with him. And apparently one day in class, this teacher went around asking the same question: who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? So we were in the same class, right? We were just not sitting next to each other. And when my time came, I went ahead and called out. I said, this guy is my best friend, and because of everything. And when his turn came, right, he also had to go ahead and share who was his best friend. He went ahead and took somebody else's name, and that was like the biggest shock of my life. But I still consider him to be a really good friend, and I'm still in touch with him. And I'm happy that he has also found.
Thanks.
Thank you, Toastmaster Walter. Thank you, Toastmaster Ritik, for the wonderful table topic session. Let me know once the polls are ready. We can. Okay, coming back to the theme. Childhood memories keep the inner child alive. No matter how old you get, we always have a child within each of us. How many of you all still get excited seeing a swing, or while eating an ice cream, or suddenly laughing and you feel very excited? All this excitement happens because there is some time associated in your mind with that memory, and hence the child in you comes up, and you get excited seeing an ice cream also and seeing a swing also. I get excited seeing a swing the moment I see a swing, because now when I can relate to my memory, I remember spending a lot of time of my childhood on the swing. Society had a swing and we used to swing like every day, and still now when I see a swing, I get never dies. It can be obedient, for some time, but never let the inner child die. So please keep the inner child alive. Moving to the final part of the Toastmaster meeting. To evaluate this entire meeting, we have the general evaluation.
TMoD Sarika. We'll start with the speech evaluations, and let Icebreaker Speech, please.
Everybody, can you hear me? Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible to all?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Toastmaster Glenn. Thank you, Toastmaster Sarika as well. So, Urmila, such a great, inspiring speech. It's your first speech. I would like to be the first one to congratulate on this wonderful journey that you have started. And what better way to start your journey as an inspirational leader? That's what you want to be. You want to be an inspirational speaker, and you have joined Toastmasters for that. So congratulations on the same. You have a wonderful story. When I got to know about your topic, follow your dream, I was agog, and I was wondering, what are you going to talk about? And I had no idea that how inspiring your story would it be. I observed how passionately and energetically you inspired the entire audience with your personal story. Your story about how it started off with your father losing business, and then starting a job, and he wanted a boy child to take care of himself, but at the end of the day, two girl childs, you and your elder sister, were managing the show, while your brothers and your mother were getting better help in some other city, and you were the people who were helping out your father. So it's such an inspiring story. I would, and then how you're managing multiple things at the same time, going to school, managing your household work, your sister dropping out of school, but you continue, you still persisting. So that is really inspiring, and you are the true inspirational material. You went ahead, you convinced your father that you want to complete your graduation, and you did. You were the first person to do it. Although you may have taken some time, that does not really matter. But at the end of the day, you were able to achieve what you planned. So bang on, great. Now, a few things that I think that you should take care of. I observed what happened is while you were giving a speech, your sound and everything was okay. But I observed that you maybe were not looking at the audience. The connection with the audience could have been much better if you had looked at the screen, but I think that's fine because it's the first time that you are giving the speech. You could also push yourself a little more by preparing it in such a way that maybe if you are not prepared of really to know what you want to speak, instead of writing it on the paper, if you could keep it in such a way that your eye is at the camera, that would have been one. And that is what I observed. Apart from that, it's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful and inspiring story that you shared with us. Thank you for sharing this with us, Urmila. And I hope you will achieve, and I'm sure you will achieve what you have started doing. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishal. I now request the second evaluator, Toastmaster Glenn, to please share his evaluation for speaker Toastmaster Akash. Over to you, Toastmaster Glenn.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. Oh, okay. So Akash, firstly, I think it was a great speech. You had me hooked throughout your speech. It was very interesting, and your speech had a lot of data. I really loved the way you went about your research. I think it speaks volumes about the time that you invested in your speech. You also gave us a lot of examples. You spoke about different world leaders and the impact that they created, which was really interesting. What I would like you to do is maybe give your speech standing up. Reason being, that creates a whole different gesture. It allows you to use your hands a lot more. Thereby, you have your hand gestures. Secondly, I'd request that you try practice looking into the camera and delivering your speech. I think while you did invest a lot of time in doing your research, somewhere there should have been some more time invested in rehearsing your speech. To the extent wherein you were able to actually go about and deliver the speech with minimum reference to the notes. So I think that's something that needs to be practiced a lot more. Now, your speech, again, had, like I mentioned, a lot of data. And it becomes a little hard for the audience to catch up. So in order for you to connect with the audience when you're representing data and facts, my recommendation to you would be maybe try and present that data on a PowerPoint slide. I'll give you a quick example. Go back to your school days, your favorite subject, maths. And think about your teacher verbally dictating a sum. You get it, right? I mean, the English language or history or something else, I think that's still okay. So like I said, overall, there was some great research done in your speech. In order to make it have a better impact from a presentation standpoint, I'd request that you incorporate these few that I have shared with you, and that I'm sure will take your speech to the next level. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Glenn. I now request Toastmaster Ajay, if you have the time captured for both the evaluators, would you be able to go ahead and share that, please?
Yeah, Toastmaster Joy. For the speech evaluation, both the speakers are qualified. Toastmaster Vishal took 3 minutes 28 seconds. Toastmaster Glenn took 2 minutes 50 seconds. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ajay. Moving on to the rest of the tag team, I now request Toastmaster Vishal Mehta to share the observations as far as the grammar and the language on for today.
Sure. Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. So, first of all, it was an absolute pleasure listening to all the speeches today. And actually, I felt there were like some very good grammar usages throughout the sessions. And some of the speeches were like really interactive, bringing out our childhood memories and inspiring and touching. So I think overall there was like really good usage of grammar today. However, just a couple of things I found out that someone used like they knows, rather it would be like they know. And in one of the speeches I did, there was like it would have been more impactful, the pronunciation of S versus SH. So like if you can get that pronunciation correct in certain words, it would make the speech more impactful in my opinion. And I believe Vishal Shah used the word of the day agog in one of his evaluations, so good job with that. And I hope everyone is able to use it more often in the future speeches. So that was all, and back to you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Joy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishal Mehta. Moving on, let's have the R counter report from Toastmaster Hardik, please. Over to you, Toastmaster Hardik.
Yeah, hi. So the report for Toastmasters Mila is she used R for 7 times and for 8 times, and she paused for a couple of times, for 2 times in between. And for Toastmaster Akash, he used R for 2 times and for 2 times, and it paused for about 5 times. Yeah, that's over to you, Toastmaster.
Toastmaster Hardik, do you have any observations for the rest of the speakers, especially the table topics?
No, I actually just heard it. I didn't note anything.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you for sharing that report, Toastmaster Hardik. Now coming over to the general evaluation, and I'd like to first very challenging meeting today, especially considering the fact that some of the veterans were not available today. And like Toastmaster at the very beginning went ahead and mentioned, it was a roller coaster because we had a lot of last minute cancellations. But kudos to the team, fantastic job done. In spite of all those cancellations, we were still able to go ahead and get a lot of candidates to take up the roles. And we were able to put on a very good show. So that was amazing. That was well done. Also, it's probably, a sign of things to come, because given the situation that we are in, it will always be a little chaotic and people will always have their priorities, right? So, the proactiveness of the team in coming up and taking up responsibilities is a very good sign. So while nothing is going to change around us in the near future, it's important that we go ahead and extend our help to each other and ensure that, nothing stops and the show goes on. So that was very well done. Starting with Walter, Walter, by now has become such a professional that he can probably rattle off the guidelines in his sleep. And he may be even doing that for all that we know. But I'm still missing the Walter who, for a brief period used to come up with something really different. So, he used to have those breathing exercises, which I'm missing. And I'd like to go ahead and see some of that. So Walter now is right now sticking to the book, the rule book, but I'd like to go ahead and,
Sure.
see him sharing those, maybe a small little activity, maybe share a fun fact, or maybe share a quotation, something to look forward to. Yeah, otherwise it'll get pretty monotonous, if you only go ahead and share the rules with us. So that's Walter. Again, so we had the presiding officer, Glenn, mention about the challenges, last minute challenges. And I believe those last minute challenges actually kept him busy from not talking much about the topic at hand. Otherwise, we all know Toastmaster Glenn has usually got some reference and he's able to connect with the topic at hand. So that was kind of missing, but understandable because of the last minute changes. All right, coming to the Toastmaster of the day, Sarika, well done. Fantastic. Now, I don't know if you deliberately went ahead and chose this day. You coming up with the childhood memories, and you were able to go out and do pretty much everything that was required in this meeting. So you've done a lot of preparation, which we could see. Even the questions that you were asking, they were different. You got people to connect right from the very beginning. So as soon as you went ahead and shared your topic, you called on each one of us. And then you had a different question for each one of them. And you continued with that flow even in the middle of the session and towards the end as well. Towards the middle of the session, I got a little excited. I thought you might have a mix of different games. So while the tongue twister was indeed very inducing to everyone, I was looking forward to see if there are any other games. So it was, just the tongue twister, maybe some, because as children, we played a whole lot of games, right? Different games. So yes, this was exciting. But again, it gives us an opportunity to look at what else can we go ahead and do in the near future. Okay, so that's very well done, Toastmaster Sarika. Coming to the prepared speeches, and I'm going to go ahead and, agree with Toastmaster Glenn had to go ahead and share in his evaluation, okay? So we need to start preparing for the physical formats that we will soon start. Okay, and that is the reason why we don't have Toastmaster Sudha Deep and Toastmaster Babu Narayan today, because they are attending a physical Toastmaster session today, and that is something that we're looking forward to having in the near future. Now, if you have to start preparing for that, then you'll have to start learning how to deliver it, while we're still in this virtual platform, right? So Toastmasters Urmila and Akash, you guys did a fantastic job as far as your speech is concerned. But pretty much both Evaluator Vishal Shah and Evaluator Glenn went ahead and shared the aspect of being able to connect with the audience. And that connect comes from one, your eye contact when you're looking at, the screens and you're looking at the small little camera hole. That is one. Second is you using your gestures. Yeah, so just by standing up, you're able to go out and use your hand a little more. You're able to go out and dramatize your speech. And that is exactly what the audience is looking forward to. So if at the end of the day, we are going to be reading our speeches, how different it is from just forwarding that speech on WhatsApp to our members and letting them read it for themselves. Yeah, but if this is your own speech, you have to be able to personalize it. And that personalization comes from, adding a little bit of stories, adding a little bit of connect. So Urmila did have a whole lot of personal stories. It was an icebreaker, and she stuck to a very fantastic structure. She had a quote at the beginning. She had a quote at the end. She spoke about her struggles, her dreams, and her, the inspiration that is through her life journey. Toastmaster Akash, you went ahead and picked a topic on democracy. Okay, so history was never really my favorite. But then again, so not wanting to repeat what Toastmaster Glenn has already gone ahead and shared in his evaluation, what made you pick democracy as a topic? Probably that would have brought the connect to this particular speech. So you share a whole lot of things. Again, the personal connect is what was missing. So instead of, in the future, reading out speeches, okay, you might want to go ahead and start, talking to the audience, having that personal connect. So that's as far as the prepared speeches is concerned. The evaluators did a fantastic job. Vishal Shah, having learned the fact that this is an icebreaker speech, he kept his evaluation very, very subtle. He did not go ahead and share or rather make any observations with regards to the content of the speech or the delivery of the speech. What he focused on was just the fact that if Toastmaster Urmila can go ahead and deliver the speech, without writing it on a piece of paper, she'll be able to have more eye contact. So that was well done, Vishal, considering the fact that, Urmila was giving her very first maiden speech. And again, Glenn is already a veteran, so his evaluation is pretty much, on the target. And hopefully Toastmaster Akash is able to go ahead and pick up those pointers and start applying, because he's still in his level 1, so there's plenty of scope to improve. Coming to the table topics, okay, Toastmaster Ritik did a fantastic job, and I'm able to go ahead and see his graph, his improvement graph since the time that he joined this club. And the only reason why I can see that improvement graph is because he's allowed himself to go ahead and participate doing something or the other every single week. He's been one of the most proactive Toastmasters that I remember you will continue to learn and you will continue to go out and make mistakes, which is fine, but every single time you'll continue to make newer mistakes. Yeah, so very well done. I also like the fact that you went ahead and chose and you made it very, very conversational. So table topics can get boring if you just move from one question to another, one Toastmaster to another, but you were able to go ahead and share your observations after the end of the speech, connected with your own childhood, and then move forward to the next one. So that was very beautifully done, Toastmaster Ritik. Coming to the tag team, and so this is feedback starting with Toastmaster Ajay Sharma, who was the timer for the day. So there were plenty of hiccups as far as your role is concerned today. So it is ideally suggested that you do your test, you do your checks before the session starts. And when the session started, you went ahead and said that you will be sharing your screen, the red, amber, green screen. But that was not to be. I think when the speeches started, right, you actually shared the timer screen. So that was one. During the table topics, again, when you were trying to share the screen was entirely blank. We could not see anything. So again, it's a lack of practice. I think this is probably the first time you're taking on the timer role, but that's okay. It's not like, we will never have mistakes. We will have mistakes, but let's make smarter mistakes. Okay, so only if we go ahead and log in a few minutes early, 15, 20 minutes early, and we do those regular checks, it'll be far better, in the meeting, right? Also, you might want to give this a try, right? So while you said that you'll be sharing your screen, when you share your screen, right, it becomes a little challenging for the speaker. Because on the one hand, you have your screen shared, and then the Zoom master has to go ahead and, also go ahead and spotlight the speaker. On the other hand, you can also go ahead and use those red, amber, green as your virtual background. So you don't have to share your screen, but all you do is you keep changing your virtual background. So that is one thing that you can check. Also, the digital timer is something that actually helps and ensures that there is no debate or no argument as with respect to when the timer started and when the timer ended. So those are different alternatives for you to go ahead and check. Maybe once you come back, I'm sure you'll be able to go ahead and play that role far better. The grammarian Vishal Mehta, you came up with a very, very different word today. I was quite agog at hearing the word myself. But then again, as a grammarian is dependent on how many times this word is actually used, which wasn't a whole lot today. Okay, so you will have to go ahead and probably look at, the connect between the theme and, how your word fits into the entire gamut of the meeting. So it could have fit well. So before, as soon as you finished sharing your objectives, you went ahead and shared the word of the day in the group on the chat box. But other than that, if you have more ways of reinforcing the word, which is either having that background with the word of the day or just sending small reminders again in the chat box, that would have gone ahead and made sure that this word becomes a success. So except for 2 or 3 people, I don't think anybody else used the word at all. But other than that, great job on evaluating just about everything else with regards to the language. Hardik Rathod, Toastmaster Hardik Rathod. So again, good job with regards to counting the R's and Ums for the speakers. But then again, your role is for the entire meeting session and is not limited to the speakers alone, the speeches alone, the prepared speeches. You are required to go ahead and listen to just about everyone, including the TMoD, the table topic speaker, as well as the Toastmasters and the guests who participate in the table topics. So it is an evaluation for the entire speech and not meeting and not limited to the prepared speeches alone. That's about it from my end. So overall, like I said, given all the challenges that we had today, I think we still ended up with a fantastic meeting. So well done. I think a round of applause to everyone. And it was still good to see a pretty healthy turnout. I was thinking that we'll probably only have the role players today and we'll just have to be the audience for each other. But it was still a pretty healthy turnout. I like how this club is shaping up, so Glenn, Walter, Sarika, myself, we were among the first ones who started this club last year, and we like the way it is now progressing. So we've roles, and although we are making meetings, I think it's still a great sign that this club will eventually get bigger and better each day. So well done, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Sarika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy, for this detailed evaluation. Okay, so one more poll. There'll be a poll for the best auxiliary role player. Ritik, can you please put up the poll?
Yes, TMoD.
Okay. So one last concluding quote I would like to talk about, on the theme of today. Walt Disney once said, "Growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional." And since it's Children's Day today, I thought that let's celebrate this day. Let's revisit your childhood memory. Let's revisit your childhood days and remember any reason to celebrate. Maybe, even a shining pebble, seeing a shining pebble, we used to celebrate. So revisit those memories, revisit those, go down the memory lane and celebrate today, reliving your childhood. Over to you, Toastmaster. Over to you, President. Toastmaster Glenn.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sarika, for today's session. I think it was really fabulous. And just so you know, I still remember the last time we had that exercise with the book over the head. I was expecting something similar today, but great job. Thank you so much.
In fact, today, Joy, I just forgot one mention. Joy mentioned about, I had actually planned 2 games. I wanted to play Name, Place, Animal Thing, which I really played a lot. But then I thought, I don't know how people will react. So then I went for Tongue Twister and Name, Place, but I just dropped that.
Yeah. And that's one of the good things about having kids, right? You can make them do your PPTs.
Yes.
Sure. Awesome. So I guess that was a learning experience for your son as well. So again, well done. Thank you. Coming back to the meeting itself, before I get any further, let's hear some feedback from our guest today, Shubham. How did you like the meeting?
Okay. Okay. So it was very insightful, and I enjoyed the whole session. So I would like to join Toastmaster to improve my. Felt that why
I'm not sure if it was your network or mine, but can the others hear? Shubham?
No,
Okay.
it is, I think, his network, because we are not able to.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are audible.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm telling that I found that where I am lacking with participation and how the other people who already joined Toastmaster and improved themselves. So I would like to join Toastmaster to improve myself. That's it, and I would get. I believe that I will, if I will join, I would get better improvement in my future, and I can be a good speaker with Toastmaster. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shubham. And thank you for also participating in today's session. I think that was great. Normally, a lot of guests shy away from participation, but that was really good. I'm not sure if you have already been in contact with our public relations officer, Deep Shah. Have you? Have you connected? Is this your first meeting or have you joined earlier? Okay, so either ways, I have your number and I will have them reach out to you in order to discuss this further. Okay, thank you, Shubham. Okay, so we'll go about, let's talk about the awards that we have for today. So a few awards to be released. So let's start off with the speaker for the day.
Just 1 second. Just if Ritik can just give me the share option, please.
Yes, Sankalpa. And meanwhile, please vote for the big three also.
Okay, so
yeah, I have given.
let me know once you're ready, Ritik and Indra. All right, so we'll start off with the awards. The first award is for the best speaker of the day, and that goes to Toastmaster Urmila. Toastmaster Urmila, congratulations. So firstly, congratulations on getting the award. And secondly, I think as part of our tradition, let's also give you a standing ovation for delivering the icebreaker speech and also winning the award. We shall now move on and we look at the table topics. So for the table topics, there is actually a tie and a tie between 4 individuals. So I'm really not sure what happened. Maybe they should have been a tiebreaker. But for today, we have Toastmaster Akash, Toastmaster Walter, Toastmaster Glenn, that's me, and Toastmaster Joy. So these are the people. It's a tie for today, like I said, but all of us have got this award. So congratulations. Speaking of ties, okay, 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Just let me see the next awards. Okay, the next award. So I will receive the award. Thank you, guys. It's a good thing they don't have my name on that PowerPoint presentation as the club president. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the best auxiliary. Vishal Mehta, the grammarian for the day. Great job, Vishal. And lastly, I think there was a neck-to-neck tie, not actually a tie, but very stiff competition between 2 veterans of our club for the Big 3 award. That goes today to Toastmaster Joy. Okay, so with that, we complete all the awards for today's session. Again, I think we have kind of finished right on time. We may have started a couple of minutes late, but that's again understandable. If you ask me how I felt getting into this meeting, I'm going to say I felt like an Indian team walking in to play Australia without Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, and Sourav Ganguly. If you ask me how I feel after this meeting, I say I see the next gen. I see KL Rahul. I think we already have Hardik with us, and I'm sure Rishabh Pant somewhere there too. So with that, I think it's good to say that we have a strong foundation. I'd just like to sincerely thank Toastmaster Sudha, Deep, for doing the hard work over there and putting all of this together. So that's again something that's very important, the pen strength. So that's something that we do have. And like I said, hopefully we know that there's another XCOM election coming up sometime soon. So if you guys want to try your hand at leadership positions, please feel free to nominate yourselves and get into those roles during the next XCOM. So again, with that, I officially declare the meeting for today closed. Thank you everyone for joining in.